Hi everyone, my name is Mary and welcome to my new YouTube channel. I thought I should post an actual video on here. Some of you guys may have seen that I did move over a lot of my TikTok videos, and my whole reason for really creating this channel is because we don't know what's happening to TikTok. I recently tapped into the GLP-1 community / like Mounjaro community over on TikTok, and I have found everyone to be so welcoming, of just a really great group of people, so much advice and support and tips, and just a really good way to start my journey. But unfortunately, in the United States, we don't know what's happening with TikTok in the next few days, because I think it's this week that they make the final decision. So I was like, I should move over to YouTube, because if there's one thing that we have all learned about the whole TikTok fiasco, it's that you never know when your favorite social media platform is going to be yanked out from under your feet. So I decided to move over to YouTube, because I know there's also a really great GLP-1 community over here on YouTube. So that's my reason for the channel. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background about me, just tell you my whole story. Might be kind of long, but I will hopefully put some timestamps in the bottom to help you out if you don't care. First of all, if I look familiar to you, it's because I'm not new to YouTube, and I've actually had several channels in the past, so I'll kind of break it down, that way you can figure out if you know me from somewhere. But my most longest living channel, I guess you could say, is actually just under my real name, Mary Ellen Quigley. It's still active. That is currently my AuthorTube channel, but that channel has been around since the birth of YouTube pretty much, and it's been everything from BookTube, AuthorTube, weight loss, ovarian cancer when I had ovarian cancer, and a multitude of other. It was like a beauty review channel for a hot second. So I mean, it's been a little bit of everything. So you may know me from that channel. And I currently, again, talk about my writing because I'm an author on that channel. And then I have had a weight loss channel in the past, and that one was called Fat Girl on a Diet. It went, it's semi-viral, I guess. I don't really know what's considered viral, but it went semi-viral. I did a video, I don't know how long, but 2 to 3 years ago. Well, it was over 2 years ago. My dad passed away. It's almost at the 2-year anniversary of my dad's passing. So I'm wanting to say it was about 2.5 to 3 years ago. I did a video that was titled "My Warning to Young People Who Are Obese." And it ended up being featured on Alan Roberts' channel. And after that was featured, I had an influx of people that ended up following my channel and kind of coming along my journey. And it was just a really bad time in my life at the time. My dad passed away very shortly after posting that video. I fell into a deep, deep, deep depression. My health continued to get worse. I ended up having the weight loss channel where I gained weight and was just depressed and crying on the channel for months afterwards, and it was just kind of a mess. And when I ended up going through a job change in my career, unfortunately, it came back to bite me in the butt as I was applying to jobs, because I actually would have potential employers be like, we found your YouTube channel and you seem like you're going through a lot right now. Can you really focus on your job? And I'm like, well, of course I can, because I don't let my personal life bleed into my work life. But it caused issues, and so I just deleted the channel. I kept a couple videos, but I deleted the channel because I didn't want it to come back to bite me in the butt. But here we are a few years later. I absolutely love the company I'm currently working for. I do not plan on leaving. As long as the, travel industry stays strong and financially the company continues to do well, I do not foresee myself leaving for a very, very, very long time, if ever. So hopefully this will not be an issue in the future. It has been a roller coaster of a ride. And I think the best way to start off this whole conversation is just to tell you a little bit about myself. So I've been overweight my whole life. I do not ever remember a time in my life where I was a normal weight. I never have been, and that has just been my whole family. My mom's side of the family, we always used to have the joke that the Havlins are big people, because we're all overweight people. We're all very, very tall, so I'm 6 feet tall, and we're all overweight. That's just the family genetics. Every single one of us are big people. And my dad's family is kind of hit or miss. His mother's side of the family is very skinny and petite and small, and that's definitely who my father took after. But his dad's side of the family, again, the Quigley side, very, very tall Irish people, believe it or not, tall Irish people with curly hair who are usually a little bit overweight. And so that is just the family I was raised in. We had the typical standard American diet, which was not very healthy, and the whole family had weight issues. The only person who never did was my dad. But fun fact, my dad actually had an overactive thyroid and was on medication for the majority of his life because he couldn't gain weight. He had the opposite problem. I'm like, why couldn't I have inherited that? Instead, I had to inherit the fat genes. But anyway, I struggled with weight my entire life. I actually do have an eating disorder I developed in high school. Actually, it was more middle school, like end of middle school, going into high school, I developed an eating disorder that I still deal with. So trigger warnings for that. And that was really just stemming from a lot of things going on in my personal life. My parents were very sick growing up. My mother and father almost died multiple times. My dad had severe heart problems. My mother had uncontrolled diabetes. So long story short, there was a lot of trauma in my childhood. I always tell people that I had a lot of childhood trauma that wasn't abuse. It was more so, how do I say this? I'm not sure how to word it, but like we weren't necessarily being abused. Like there was no physical abuse, we weren't being neglected, nothing like that. But there was a lot of emotional trauma because we never knew if our parents were going to die. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times when I was little, I did not think my parents were going to live because they had such bad health issues. And it really takes a lot on you as a child to never know if your parents are going to live, like to have dad go into the hospital because he had another heart attack. And is this one going to be the one that kills him? And then because my parents were both sick and they were both disabled by the time I was in middle school, we didn't have anything. We had a roof over our head and my parents always made sure, like we always had the necessities. We had food on our table, a roof over our head, and we were very, very loved. But they struggled, and I can remember going to the food pantries, and it wasn't an easy childhood. I feel like I had it better than a lot, but worse than others, and that does affect who you are when you grow up. I had a lot of trauma that I fixed by feeding myself by food, and that is something that I have worked on over the years, and I am still working on. So long story short, fast forward, I have hit at this point, my mid-30s. And at the age of 35, back in 2017, everything changed. I was diagnosed at the age of 35 with ovarian cancer. It really, I hate to say it came out of nowhere, but it came out of nowhere. I was just starting to get established in my career in hospitality. I had moved into my first revenue management position. I had taken on my first market. I was learning a lot. I was stressed, but I was learning a lot. I had moved across the country and then back. And so I chalked up the fact that I was missing periods to the fact that I was just stressed out and had a lot going in my life. And then after months and months and months of not figuring out what was wrong, I finally went and saw the doctor, and the doctor ended up doing tests. And after doing scans and tests, we did a biopsy of what we thought was a cyst, and that cyst ended up being ovarian cancer. So I had ovarian cancer in 2017. I did my treatment. I finished all of my treatment in 2018 and was considered at that point, in remission. But here I am now, all these years later. It is 2025 and I am still cancer-free. I was very, very blessed. My cancer was caught early. I was a stage 1. And I always tell everybody that I am one of the rare statistics because usually ovarian cancer is not caught at a stage 1. And a lot of times I have some survivor's guilt from that because I have lost so many friends along the way that were not lucky enough to have theirs caught that early. I don't know why I was one of those people that got it caught early, but I'm just glad it was. And I consider this my chance at life to do better and to accomplish the things that I may not have been able to accomplish if I hadn't made time to go to the doctor and get checked and had a doctor who was smart enough to recognize the symptoms. But when I tell you that ovarian cancer changed everything, I was thrown into menopause because they had to do a complete hysterectomy with removal of everything. Like everything is gone. And my omentum, 17 lymph nodes. And ever since then, my health has just rapidly declined. I have lymphedema now from the removal of those lymph nodes. And then I've just had so many random side effects. I had to have my gallbladder out. I had to have my appendix out. And I'm currently dealing with an inoperable hernia it's multiple hernias, but the main one is where my incision was. And unfortunately, I am so large that they cannot fix it. So I need to lose about 100 pounds before the doctor will go in, because it needs to be a complete abdominal wall reconstruction. It's not just a hernia repair. They have to rebuild my abdominal wall. So I have to be at a much lower weight before a doctor will even consider that. But then outside of that, just a multitude of things have gone wrong. As I'm now 43. I just turned 43, and things just keep getting worse. My highest weight that I weighed was when I started this journey, and it was over 400 pounds. I'll give you the exact number later on. But I ended up with gaining weight rapidly at like 100 pounds in just a couple of years. Because when I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, I was already big, but I was about 290 when I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And I ballooned all the way up to like 400 pounds because the weight just keeps going up. Keeps going up, right? And then I developed all the things that come from weight problems, right? High cholesterol, high blood pressure. I started having early stage congestive heart failure. I was sleep apnea, diagnosed with diabetes. That was the most recent one in the fall. And when I was at the doctor's office, I stood on the scale and I weighed 449 point something. I can't remember what the point is, but 449 pounds. And I was actually bawling at my doctor's office. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was the most depressed I had ever been. And I actually looked at my doctor and I was like, either I need to figure out how to lose the weight or I hope I die. Like, I told him that. I was like, I don't want to be here anymore if this is the way my life is going to be. And my doctor, of course, being very, very concerned because I was like ready to, jump off a cliff at that point, was like, let's consider a weight loss medication. Because prior to that, I was scared of taking more medications. I had been on so many medications over the years, from, the chemotherapy all the way down, that I was like, I don't know that I trust some of these medications. And my doctor's like, now your blood sugar, you're testing diabetic. Like, let's try one of the GLP-1 medications. Let's just go for it. Because his first thought was to actually do weight loss surgery. At the time, I was transitioning to the new job that I'm in now. Because I was diagnosed in September and I started this new job in September. So I was leaving the old job, going into the new job. And in case you're not familiar, because you're not from the US, in the United States, there's a little bit of a gap. For a lot of employers, there's a gap, right? So I had insurance through the end of the month prior because I had my old job. But then with the new job, I started like in the middle of September. And you had to be working there for 2 full months before you would have insurance. I didn't have insurance coverage until December. So I was like, first of all, none of my insurance covers that. Like the old policy didn't, and the new policy documents didn't cover weight loss surgery. And I couldn't get covered for the weight loss GLP-1s either because I had no insurance coverage at the time. And my doctor's like, well, let's do a compounded pharmacy. So he put me in contact with a local health and wellness center that works with a pharmacy and does GLP-1 compounded versions. So in November, I started Ozempic, and Ozempic actually worked really well for me. I will say, if anybody's new to the Ozempic journey, for me personally, the first couple of doses didn't do much. The first dose, how much is it? 0.25? I can't remember because I just switched over to Mounjaro, but the first dose didn't do anything to me. Like, I didn't notice anything. I was taking the shots and I didn't notice anything. Like, nothing for hunger, nothing for weight loss. I was taking a shot every week. When I moved up to the second dose, which is the 0.5, I did notice that the hunger started to go away and I was not thinking about food. Like, the food noise quieted down, right? And then when I moved up to, and actually on that, backtrack, on the 0.5, I did start losing weight on that dose. And then when I moved up to the 1.0 dose of Ozempic, I was on the 1.0 for like 2 months. The weight just dropped. I mean, it came off fast. There was no food noise. I wasn't having very minimal side effects with the Ozempic. Constipation was really the only thing I had. And then I did notice that I had to be careful what I was eating, because if I ate something heavily greasy, I would end up nauseous. And if I ate something that was spicy, I would end up with heartburn. So I ended up getting good old nausea meds and, Gas-X and some heartburn medicine, because I would notice that I had to be very careful. So I learned what not to eat in those 2 months. My first one was when I went to a friend's house for a get-together and had a piece of pizza and thought I was going to die. So I learned, don't eat pizza. Don't eat pizza because it does not agree with you. I went in for my yearly checkups and I ended up losing 22 pounds on Ozempic, which was fantastic. But when I went and saw my doctor for this follow-up, I forget how many months later, so that's 6 months later, whatever, for the follow-up, I have the new insurance now because I started with this new company, and my doctor's like, hey, you're diabetic, you also have sleep apnea, and you have this new insurance. I think that we can get it approved. He's like, let's see if we can get Mounjaro approved, because Mounjaro is supposed to be like a 2 agonist. I'm not a doctor, so somebody can probably explain this better than I can, but it has 2 agonists. He's like, it's going to get your blood sugar down quicker. It's going to help you lose weight quicker. And I think I can get this covered by your insurance. And that's what we did. And he did get it approved by my insurance. And so I went from paying, $200 something out of pocket for the compounded pharmacy to paying $50 a month with my insurance now. And my prior authorization through this insurance company is good for a year. So I know for the next year I have coverage for Mounjaro, and I'm going to take advantage of that. I don't know what it will look like next year when I have to get it approved. But for this year, I'm good to go, and it includes titration up. So I'm good to go for the next year. And I started Mounjaro 2 weeks ago. The first week, I had some interesting side effects. I ended up, there's several shorts on here that I brought over from TikTok, but I had like weird neck pain and then like really nauseous on Saturday and just a lot of ones I was not expecting. The constipation for me was almost immediate, and I was like, oh my goodness, with the constipation. And I don't know how much of that is because I was transferring from one medication to the next or what. I also injected into my stomach, and I've heard people say you get more side effects on the stomach. I don't know if that's true or not, but because with Ozempic, it didn't really matter for me, but I had my first injection into the stomach, and it was a rough first week, but I also lost 4.7 pounds. Like, it was huge how much weight I lost. And then I took week 2 last week, and I injected into my thigh. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have had no side effects. I've had a little bit of constipation, but like nothing severe. It's much better than last week. But I've also not had as good like control with food noise. I notice more food noise, especially today is Monday. I take my shots on Wednesday. It's Monday, so I have a couple days before the shot. I woke up this morning and I was like, I would stab somebody in the face for a donut. Like it was like, where is this coming from? So I'm wondering if the thigh is not it for me. I don't know. I'd be interested to see if anybody else had that experience, because people say, as I've been watching on the YouTube channel, like stuff, people are saying that your injection site matters. So I'm going to do my stomach again on Wednesday and we'll see what happens. And I'm wondering, because of the fact that I'm not having any side effects this week, I'm wondering if I'm going to actually lose weight when I weigh in on Wednesday, but we will find out when we get there. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm on week 2 of Mounjaro, altogether on GLP-1 medications. Since November, I've lost 27.2 pounds, which I'm thrilled with. And I will tell you that the one side effect with the Mounjaro that I am absolutely thrilled with is that my inflammation is gone. Like, my inflammation is gone. I have never felt this good. I swear I feel like I'm 10 years younger. I've lost like 10 years off of my aging process because I don't have knee pain. My back pain is gone. And lymphedema is a totally different beast, but my lymphedema is better. I don't know what kind of magic juice this is, but my inflammation is gone. And I'm excited. So anyways, I'm on week 2. I will weigh in a couple of days, but I want to just give you kind of an introduction. This is a long introduction, so I apologize. But this is my introduction video on my channel and my journey. And I really want to have this channel for a couple of reasons, right? Well, about 2 to 3 reasons. The first one is just to hold myself accountable, because if I have to stand in front of people I don't know on the internet and tell you how much I weigh each week, it's going to hold me more accountable in not slipping up. Now, I will say with the medication, I feel like it's going to be hard to slip up because it just kind of fixes your brain. At least I've noticed this so far, but I want to make sure that I keep the focus on what the focus is. And so I think this will hold me accountable. Secondly, I am looking for support because I have people in my life that love me, but that they don't understand what it's like to be 400 pounds and to have to lose basically like what? I need to lose like a couple hundred pounds. So like adult person and a child or something. I mean, I'm losing like a person and a half or two people at this point. So it's a very big number and it's overwhelmingly large. So they love me, but they don't understand because they're not in that boat, if that makes sense. So support from people who get it is really what I'm looking for. And then the third one would be that if I'm actually successful at getting my health under control, and for me, it's not even just the weight loss. The weight loss is a huge part of it because I need to lose weight so I can fix my hernia. But to be able to get I want to be off the diabetes medications. I don't want to have sleep apnea anymore. I want to be able to sleep without a mask on my face. I want to be off the blood pressure medications. I want to have my eating disorder under control. I want my mental health to be better. I need to quit being depressed about everything. I have a lot of things outside of just weight loss, but just everything from weight loss, health, wellness, and mental health. I need to get my crap together so that the last half of my life is better than the first half of my life has been. And that's really what this goal is. So I want to also potentially be an inspiration for people or someone that you can bounce ideas off of as we go through this wellness journey together. If you made it this far and you don't have a comment that you want to leave, but you want to say hello in your own way, leave me an emoji of something that makes you happy. So for me, it would be an emoji of a dog because my dog is the cutest and he makes me happy. If you liked my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all this stuff. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.